uh, as I browsed the internet, I came across two lists, and they were very interesting. It was the top 10 most religious states and bottom 10 most religious states in America. And we'll close the show with the bottom 10. But let's go through the list of the top 10 most religious states. Oklahoma is number 10. Uh, the study says the people of, and this is through Pew Research, they said the people of Oklahoma love their religion. They push to have a monument of the Ten Commandments installed into the ground of the state capitol. Some have tried to increase the religion taught in public schools. It's not too surprising. The vast majority of people in Oklahoma believe that there is an absolute certainty there's a God. 50% attend a religious service every week. 66% say that they pray. Uh, Number 9 on the list is North Carolina. Last year, the majority state was a mix of evangelical and mainland Protestants, but recently North Carolina was rocked by a tense election. Cecil Bothwell, a self-declared atheist, was elected to the city council in Asheville. But there was one problem. North Carolina still has a law on the books that says atheists are barred from holding public office. Wow. Maybe I'm going to move to North Carolina. Um, Perhaps this debate is actually a sign that the religious culture in the state is more complicated than it may seem on the surface. 69% say religious is important to them. 49% attended a religious service. 68% say that they pray at least once per day. And 81% have an absolute certainty that there is a God. Utah. Utah is the 8th most religious state. We're not going to go into detail. Of course, it's religious because Mormon is pretty much law in Utah, so definitely religious. I don't know how spiritual. Number 7, Kentucky. Not only do the vast majority of people in Kentucky feel certain that God exists, but they believe that He is in charge of their homeland security. In 2006, legislation was passed in Kentucky that required the Office of Homeland Security to acknowledge the state's security cannot be achieved apart from the reliance on God. Not surprisingly, atheists in and outside of the state took issue with this and sued to have the wording changed. Percent of people who say religion is important in their lives, 67%, 47% attend service weekly, 70% say they pray at least once a day, and 83% say that there's an absolute certainty that there's a God. Number 6, Arkansas. Bill Clinton may still be the most famous person from Arkansas, but it is the home of Mike Huckabee, who I hope runs for president, because I will vote for Mike Huckabee. Plus, this has been the setting for the battle over creationism, according to the Pew Research Group. Nearly 3/4 of people surveyed in Arkansas said that religion has been very important in their life, tying them for second most in the country. 50% go to service once a week, 68% say they pray once a day, and 84% believe with absolute certainty that there is a God. Tennessee is number 5. Tennessee lives up to its reputation as being part of the Bible Belt. 84% of those surveyed claim to believe that God is God with an absolute certainty, making them one of the most devout states in the country. However, the state is still ranking at the bottom 10 in the happiness index. Interesting. 72% say that religion is important in their lives. 52% say that they attend religious service once a week. And 70% say that they pray once a day. Number 4, which was a shocker to me, is the state of Louisiana. Louisiana can be religious. This article says sometimes to a fault. Their current governor is also often criticized for being a religious zealot. The state also passed laws to open the door to teaching creationism in the classroom. 73% say religion is important to their lives. 53% say they attend services once a week. 76% say they pray every day. And 83% believe that God is God with an absolute certainty. And I want to also say that outside of Utah, all these states believe the God of the Bible is God. Number 3, South Carolina. One of the reasons that South Carolina proves to be a tricky campaign stop for presidential candidates is they need to prove their religious chops to some people in the state. 86% surveyed in North Carolina say they believe God is God with an absolute certainty, which is tied for second most in the country. Sometimes this intense religiosity manifests itself in odd ways. Back in 2008, the state was sued for trying to issue new license plates that included the words "I believe" with an image of a cross next to it. They were eventually banned. South Carolina looks appealing. 70% say religion is important to their lives. 54% say they attend religious services once a week. 72% say they pray once a day. Number 2, Alabama. As Gallup poll pointed out in a similar poll last year, the people of Alabama are as religious as many countries in the Middle East and Africa. Baby, you want to move to Alabama?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Oh, Alabama's looking real good.
Let's go.
Okay. In other words, they are super religious and little has changed. They tie South Carolina with the highest percentage of people who believe in God, and nearly 3/4 of those surveys say religion is important in their daily lives. The people of Alabama take religion so seriously that when a billboard went up quoting John Lennon's line, "Imagine no religion," the state went into an uproar. But Alabama looks like a lost soul compared to the most religious state on this list. And number 1, let's do Alabama some justice. 52% attend church once a week, and 73% pray once a day. The most religious state in America, and it's home of a man that I've grown very fond of, Dr. John Perkins. I'm currently reading one of his books. Me and my wife attended the CCDA regional conference. I knew about him for years. It was a pleasure to meet him, a humble man. He came out and shook everyone's hands, and he kissed the older women on the cheek. The state of Mississippi. Mississippi ranked first in each of the 4 categories, making it the most religious state in the country. 91% of the people surveyed claim they believe the God of the Bible to be God. 82% said religion was important in their lives. This might explain why many politicians in Mississippi spare no amount of effort proving their deep devotion to God and religion. Now, we feel compelled to know that Mississippi has ranked at or near the bottom of the least healthiest states for several years, largely due to the prevalence of obesity. So perhaps some residents might consider walking to church every week. 60% of the residents say they attend church weekly. 77% say that they pray. What a wonderful list, but let's deal with some realities. 60% of those polled say they attend church weekly. That's a difficult statistic. We know that 69% of America is casual Christian and name only, so we don't want to get too excited about those statistics, but top 10 list in America, it's probably pretty close. It's probably right on board, and we'll see what the bottom 10 has to say, and I'm sure that my state is on the list. We'll get on to the next topic. This topic is probably going to anger a lot of my Facebook friends because many of you posted rest in peace to Nathaniel D. Hale, better known as Nate Dogg. I found that shocking. I saw a lot of people that even claim to be somewhat devout posting rest in peace Nate Dogg. So I went and did a search, just trying to figure out if I missed something, if Nate Dogg had turned his life around and submitted his life to God, or if there was something out there that stated such. I didn't find it, and so as I read this, I'm just kind of perplexed at our view on what God says. Maybe a lot of us in Facebook world have the Rob Bell view, but last I checked, that if a person lived their life as a sinner, that hell would be their destination. Now, I don't know this man, but I'm just more interested in the response of Christians to the passing of Nate Dogg. I think you guys are telling a little bit about your love for secular music and about your idolization of sinners. But let's just read this and see if your viewpoint is biblical or secular. Nate Dogg, the California rapper whose real name was Nathaniel Hale, died at the age of 41 on Tuesday, March the 15th. The rapper survived a pair of strokes in 2007 and 2008 and was recently believed to be in therapy. Nate Dogg made his first appearance on Dr. Dre's album The Chronic and almost immediately after became the hook man of the 1990s G-Funk era. He was featured on Warren G's 1994 single Regulate, Dr. Dre's Next Episode, Fabulous, Can't Deny It, Ludacris, Area Code, Eminem's Shake That, among many others. Nate Dogg's most recent solo album, Nate Dogg, was released in 2008. Nate Dogg's friends have taken to Twitter to share their thoughts about his passing, from Snoop Dogg and Daz Dillinger to Drake, Nicki Minaj, 50 Cent. Billboard has compiled a list of artist tweets as they mourn a great loss. Rest in peace, Nate Dogg. Snoop Dogg, all dogs go to heaven. See you when I get to heaven. Love you, buddy. You will always be with me forever and a day. You put the G in G-Funk. You put the 1 in 213. You put the stamp on everybody you ever did it with. Daz Dillinger, rest in peace to my homie Nate Dogg. DPGC, Dog Pound Gangster for Life. The Game, all dogs go to heaven. Ludacris, there is certainly a void in hip-hop's heart that can never be filled. Glad we got a chance to make history together. At Snoop Dogg, rest in peace, Nate Dogg. I'm not going to read all 20, but I think what's interesting is that so many, which is why outreach is my life, because if Nate Dogg did not get his life with God, right with God, he's not resting in peace. And that's the tragedy, that's the agony that we as Christians fail to be like. It's just a tragedy that many people who name the name of Christ and claim to be devout Christians through my social networks had the same opinion as the world. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know what confession or profession Nate Dogg made, but I searched diligently and I found nothing to lead me to believe. I actually was at Best Buy trying to get my wife's iPad fixed, and there was a gentleman there requesting money for a homeless shelter. He was a man in a homeless shelter, and we had a discussion, and I prayed with him, and he was disturbed by Nate Dogg's passing because he too has health issues. And he said what was interesting about Nate Dogg is that he never saw anything that mentioned Nate Dogg acknowledging God in his life, and that scared him, which led him to ask me to pray with him and talk to him about God, because he, with his health issues, was fearing death. And I told him, just like I tell everyone watching this show, the lifestyle that these guys lead will lead to an early grave. There's nothing to glorify in that lifestyle. There's nothing good in that lifestyle, and in the end, that way leads to destruction. So my condolences to the family of Nate Dogg, especially if he did not know Christ and the pardon of his sins, because he's now resting in eternal judgment, and that's very sad. I'm pretty sure, I know nothing about the man, but with that type of voice, I'm pretty sure that voice was honed in a church somewhere. And woe to the church if our fallacies and our faultiness turned his face away from God. On to our next topic.